Good afternoon. This is my entry for exam 2. Let's get started. To which of these two ideas do you subscribe? Clear writing leads to clear thinking, or clear thinking leads to clear writing? Defend your answer and explain how you would teach students based on your answer. I am a huge advocate, or I choose to subscribe to clear thinking leads to clear writing, because it relates more to my childhood of think before you speak. That was instilled in me and my siblings. So growing up writing, think before you speak, set it up. Because if I don't, I'm going to miss some key points, or I'm going to mumble, or I'm just going to throw down gibberish and it's not going to make sense in the end. I'm going to have to redo it anyway. So me personally, I need to organize and use logic and understanding of the content that I'm writing about. And then how I would model this for my students, or how I would teach this to my students, is by encouraging them to walk through the content, have a better understanding, process, talk to your partner, use a what are those things called? Some type of organizer, a web, or just a general way of graphing it out. I cannot think of the word, and that's so crazy. Yeah, just a visual organizer at this point. Once their thoughts are structured and they know exactly what they're writing about, yeah, let's start writing on your rough draft. That makes sense to me. Question number 2, provide a description of how secondary content area teachers could, we're in the way, model parts of the writing process to their students. I don't know what the technique is called, but basically it's me thinking out loud so that they can program their brains to doing what I'm doing. So I might say, let me start on my graphic organizer. What is my thesis statement going to be? What am I talking about? Okay, once I figured out what I'm talking about, let's break down these 3 things that I'm going to be talking about. What do I want to say? Or I can think like show them a bad paper and then show them how to strengthen it with evidence or precision. Modeling each stage. This is how we plan. This is how we draft. This is how we revise. This is editing. It helps them see the flaws and makes them want to be stronger as a writer. To me. That's just to me. Number 3. We are a society that seems to be moving more away from reading text for information and entertainment, and more towards listening and watching them, i.e. audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, various streaming services. Illustrate how this transition is playing out in secondary content areas, classrooms. Explain how or even if secondary teachers need to change their instructional approach and strategies as society moves away from print text to more use of visual audio text. It is very true that we are moving forward in the world of technology. However, I think that it's important that they know how to read. I think it's important that they can break down a text and be able to summarize and all of that. But it wouldn't hurt to incorporate some of their new stuff as well. So the shift towards visual and audio media is definitely evident in classrooms. So maybe find a YouTube channel that's interesting. Like, I think his name is Mr. Green. I always found him very interesting. He talks really fast. I was always engaged because it was usually guided notes. So he's talking fast. I got to fill out this gap. I missed this blank. So yes, it was stressful. But it was also bridging the gap between you still have to write this down and you're watching a video and listening, and your teacher don't have to talk all day. So rather than resisting this trend, we can lean into it. So English teachers might analyze a podcast. Science teachers might watch a video of an experiment with an explanation of the lab results. Yeah. Teaching students to evaluate credibility. Identify biases, maybe. Alrighty. Number 4. What are some specific strategies or activities that you could use in your current future secondary content area classroom to place more value on extracurricular writing? I teach PE currently, and that's not really secondary. I do have 6th grade though. But I could incorporate writing on extracurricular because my students are very active and they want to tell me about all this stuff that they do over the weekend. And I wish we could, but we only have 50 minutes. So maybe a parking lot where you write down what you did this weekend that you want me to know about, or make a blog, a journal entry about your experience on the sports team. Tell me that y'all traveled this weekend. Tell me that you made 3 baskets. I don't know. And then encouraging writing. Maybe I got some students that PE is not their thing. Tell me, what is your thing? Write a song about basketball. Or that's what we're on right now. Or a poet. Write some poetry about how this isn't your speed. What connects to you? And then maybe we can do a showcase where you post your writing on our Google Classroom wall or whatever. I think this will help them see themselves and for them to be able to communicate with their peers and tell me the stuff that I don't have time to listen to on the spot. All right. Number 5. In our current area, I want to say area so bad. In our current era of high-stakes testing and accountability measures, coupled with strict adherence to curricular coverage and the meeting of academic standards, how could a secondary content area teacher argue for the importance of students engaging in narrative personal writing? Some of these kids don't know how to open up and tell you about themselves, so writing takes that edge off of them, takes the pressure off of them. Yes, we are in a high-stake testing era, but narrative and personal writing remain essential because not only are they learning to use that voice and show empathy and a deeper comprehension, these students are learning to develop self-awareness. This is going to strengthen their analytical writing later. A teacher might argue that personal narrative supports social emotional learning. That's one of those trigger words, whistleblowing words that they've been throwing at us for the past 3 years that I've been teaching. So I don't think that should be taken away. I think it's important. I think these students need that first. I think this is really the first thing that they know. The first thing that they learn is to talk about themselves. So it's foundational at this point. First, you learn how to write about yourself. Then you learn how to write a bibliography. I could be wrong on which word that is. Don't quote me. All right. Number 6, then and now. Then, as a student, how did you use or would have used AI for writing assignments in middle school and high school? Honesty required. Thank you. Now, as a secondary content area teacher, what will be is your approach with your students regarding AI in the writing you assign them? Honestly, I'm happy I didn't have AI when I was in middle school and high school, because I probably would have just used it. I probably would have copied and pasted it, honestly. I was in a lot of honors classes that I felt like they took honors, and instead of like challenging us, they just gave us more work, and I don't believe that that's challenging. I think that's just poor planning. So if I had AI in school, I probably would have been cheating. I would have been paraphrasing. I would have been caught for plagiarism. I'm glad I didn't have it. As a teacher now, I think it's not a bad thing. They just got to be taught how to use it. So transparency and just be ethical. I don't mind you using AI to elevate your thought process. I don't think it's a problem if they're taught to use it responsibly. So I would teach them how to use AI for brainstorming, organization, revision, but emphasize that their original thinking and reflections are what give the writing value. Because yes, AI can write that paper for you, but no one can put your type of style on it. It's all about integrity, honestly. I tell my kids that I use AI sometimes. Sometimes I use AI to make my slideshows. Sometimes I use AI to help me with my outline for a paper. Especially because teachers are so heavily encouraged to use DOK 2, 3, and 4 writing. And sometimes we've elevated the questions so high that I don't even know what they asked me to do. Then, once I put it into AI and it dumbs it down for me, I won't say dumbs it down, but breaks it down for me, I'm like, oh, why didn't they just say that? So that's how I would use AI. That's how I use AI. And that's how I would encourage my students to use AI. There's nothing wrong with AI. Just don't become overly dependent on it. If you can't write a paragraph on the topic without asking AI to help you, there's a problem. And we should work on that. But this is my entry for exam 2. I hope you enjoyed my thought process. Have a good night.